Hello, second grade Smarties, and welcome to iReady Math Lesson 24, video number 4. Today, you are going to need your analog clock. Your what kind of clock? Analog clock, and your instruction book opened to pages 224 and 225. This week, we have been practicing telling and writing time. And remember, with telling and writing time, we have to be precise, just like when we are measuring objects and graphing data. So let's go ahead and dive into question number 1 on page 224. It says, Elsa went to swim practice after school. She finished at 5:45. Which clock shows the time Elsa finished? Circle all the correct answers. Okay, so let's go back and reread that word problem. Elsa went to swim practice after school. I'm going to underline that because that's going to be very important in a little bit. She finished at 5:45. Which clock shows the time Elsa finished? All right, the first thing I want us to do is to get our analog clocks out, and we are going to put the time on our analog clock. All right, so it says that she finished at 5:45. Now, Smarties, look at the minutes. 45 minutes have gone by. So I want you to point, which hand are we going to use to show minutes, Smarties? The short hand or the long hand? Which one is going to show minutes? The long hand. All right, and when we are showing minutes, remember, if it is on one of the numbers, what are we skip counting by? Fives. So let's start at 0 and count by fives to what minute, Smarties? 45. Do you have your clocks ready? All right, here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Oh, we're halfway. 35, 40, 45. All right, so our minute hand is pointing at what number, Smarties? The 9. It's not 9 minutes, it's 45 minutes, but we counted by 5 9 times. Now let's think about our hour hand. Now we are more than halfway through the 5th hour. So I want you to think about your hour hand, Smarties. Is your hour hand going to be on top of the 5? Why or why not? It's not going to be on top of the 5 because the hour is not just starting. We are closer to the 6th hour, but we are not past the 6. It is not 6 o'clock yet. So our hour hand is between the 5 and the 6. We go back to the smaller number for the hour. So this is showing 5:45. Go ahead and on your instruction book, circle the correct analog clock that shows 5:45. Go ahead and do that now. All right, so the clock that shows 5:45 is letter B. Look at that hour hand, Smarties. It is not past the 6, so it is still 5. And that long hand, that minute hand, is pointing at the 9, which tells us that 45 minutes have gone by. Now, your digital clock. I made you underline the words after school because that's going to tell us when this is happening. Remember, AM is in the morning time. PM is in the afternoon and nighttime. So if Elsa went to swim practice after school, did she go in the morning time or in the afternoon and evening time? AM or PM? She went 5:45 p.m. She finished in the evening after school, so afternoon. All right, so we should have circled B and D. Smarties, it's super important to be precise with telling time. Number 2, it says, where does the hour hand point when a clock shows 10:30? Circle the correct answer. All right, so I am going to get my clock, and I'm going to put both hands at the 12. All right, maybe. All right, 10:30. So our question is asking, where does the hour hand point? Does it point at the 6? Does it point at the 10? Does it point between the 9 and the 10? Or between the 10 and the 11? All right, so let's start by looking at the minutes. I like to look at the minutes first because it helps me figure out where my hour hand is going to be. So my minute hand is my long hand. All right, in 30 minutes, I am going to skip count by 5s. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. If my minute hand is pointing halfway, so at the 6, 30 minutes, that means I am halfway through the hour. I'm not at 10 o'clock, but I'm also not at 11 o'clock. I am going to be right in the middle. So my hour hand is my shorthand. This is not showing 10:30. I am getting closer to 11, but I'm not passing the 11. So which of these options is correct? A, at the 6, B, at the 10, C, between the 9 and 10, or D, between 10 and 11? Where should my hour hand be pointing? Remember, your hour hand is your shorthand. Where should it be pointing? Between the 10 and 11. All right. Number 3 says between the minute hand on a clock points at the 10. What time could it be? Circle the correct answers. All right, so our minute hand is our shorthand, right? No, it's our long hand. So our minute hand is pointing at the 10. So that's 10 minutes, right? If my minute hand's pointing at the 10, that's 10 minutes. What? It's not. If my minute hand is pointing at the 10, what do I need to skip count by 10 times? 5s. So let's go back in time to the 12 with our minute hand. And we are going to skip count by 5. So starting at the 12, 0 minutes, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. I could also hold up 10 fingers and count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Now remember, on a digital clock, our hour would be the first number and our minutes goes after the colon. So which of these options would be correct? It says circle all the correct answers. So there are 2 answers that show what time it could be if the minute hand is pointing at the 10. Go ahead and circle the correct answers. All right, so 4:50. If our minute hand is pointing at the 10, that means 50 minutes have gone by. And letter D, 8:50. We're still in the 8th hour, but we are really close to 9 o'clock. All right, Smarties, let's move on to page 225. It says Dylan finished his afternoon soccer practice at the time shown on the clock at the right. Which clock below shows the time Dylan finished soccer practice? Circle the correct answer. Now, I'm going to go back and read that because my digital clock is going to want to know if he finished practice in the AM, in the morning time, or in the PM in the afternoon. With digital clocks, remember, it's going to show those times. So Dylan finished his afternoon soccer practice at the time shown on the clock at the right. Okay, so if he finished in the afternoon, Is he finishing practice AM or PM, Smarties? It's going to be PM. All right, but now we need to figure out what time he finished his practice. So look at our analog clock, Smarties. Let's look at the hour hand first, that shorthand. It is pointing at the 4. Ooh, if it's pointing at the 4, that means that we have started a new hour. And our minute hand is pointing at the 1. Now, does that mean 1 minute has gone by, Smarties? No. Remember, if our minute hand is pointing at one of the numbers, that means we need to skip count that many times. So if I skip count 1 time, 5. Okay? So our hour is 4 and our minutes is 5. Which clock shows 4:05, Smarties? Go ahead and circle the correct digital clock that shows 4:05. So letter B shows 4:05. Ooh, and Smarties, it is wanting to trick you with some of these. 4:01. It looks like this digital clock is thinking that the minute hand is showing 1 minute, but we know that if it's pointing at the numbers, that means we need to skip count that many times. Ooh, the 1:20. Ooh, so they flip the hands. So this is saying that the hour is 1 and the minutes is 20. So Smarties, do not get tricked. All right, let's go to number 5. It says Robin read until 7:35 in the evening. Draw hands on the clock to show that time. Then write the same time on the digital clock. Be sure to circle AM or PM. All right. Robin read until 7:35 in the evening. So we can go ahead and put that on our digital clock, Smarties. So what was the hour? 7. So remember, our hour goes before the colon and our minutes go after. How many minutes have gone by? 35. Here's the important part of our digital clock. Did Robin read at 7:35 a.m. or p.m.? Look at the words in the problem. Robin read until 7:35 in the evening. Go ahead and circle which option is correct. A.m. or p.m.? It's p.m., right? P.m. means after 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Afternoon means after 12 o'clock. So afternoon is afternoon, evening, or nighttime. AM is in the morning time. All right, now we need to put the hands on our analog clock. All right, so 7:35. I'm going to start by doing the minutes because it's going to help me figure out where my hour hand needs to go. So 35 minutes have gone by. So I'm going to start at the 12 and skip count by 5s until I get to 35. So here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. All right, so where is my minute hand pointing, Smarties? My long hand, my minute hand is pointing at the 7. Let's go ahead and put our minute hand on our analog clock. So I'm going to start at that circle, and my long hand is pointing at the 7. Excellent job, Smarties. Now, it is 7:35. Ooh, so what hour are we in? 7. Now, Smarties, this is going to be tricky because at the start of the hour, remember that hour hand is right on top of the 7. But as we get closer, so 7:30, remember, it's not going to be right on the 7. It's going to be halfway between the 7 and the 8. Because we are halfway through the 7th hour, we're getting closer to the 8th hour. Now, with my minute hand touching the 7, that means 5 more minutes have gone by, which means my hour hand is getting even closer to the 8. So my hour and my minute hand are really close. So with my hour hand, Smarties, with my shorthand, I'm going to have to be really precise. All right, so I know that my hour hand is shorter, and I'm going to make sure that it doesn't pass the 8, but it's getting close. All right, do you see that, Smarties? We're not past the 8, but we're also not close to that 7. We are getting closer to 8 o'clock, but it is still 7:35. All right, number 6. It says the clock at the right is missing the minute hand. It is either 6:05 or 6:55. Which is correct? Explain how the hour hand can help you know the answer. All right. So look at the hour hand on that analog clock, Smarties. Look at where it's pointing at. And I'm going to show that on my analog clock right here. Okay. All right. I want you to look at this for a second. And I want you to think about what you are seeing. Look at where that hand is. What numbers is it between? It's between the 6 and the 7. Okay. Now we know it's either going to be 6:05, so it's either going to be 6:05 or it's going to be 6:55. Which one is correct, Smarties? 6:05? Does that look right? Or 6:55? If 55 minutes have gone by, I'm getting really close to a new hour. But if my minute hand is at the 1, that means 5 minutes have gone by. That means a new hour has started. So if my hour hand is very close to the 7, it hasn't passed the 7 yet. Is this showing 6:55 or 6:05? I want you to go ahead and write what time is correct. So the correct time is 6:55. How do we know that is the correct answer? Look at your hour hand, Smarties. What is your hour hand really close to? It is close to the 7. 55 minutes have gone by. When 60 minutes have gone by, we have started a new hour. So we could say that it is 6:55 because Miss Mason needs to spell the word because correctly, because the hour hand is closer to the 7. So 6:55, Smarties, that means I am getting super close to a new hour. When that minute hand touches the 12, that means I am starting a new hour. So it's no longer 6, it is 7. And just like 6:55, if I went to 7:55, Smarties, notice where my hour hand is. It's very close to the 8, but it hasn't passed it. So if my hour hand is between two numbers and it hasn't passed the larger number, I go back to that smaller number. So this would be 7:55. All right, Smarties, I know this is challenging, but you have a growth mindset because you are a good learner. And good learners do challenging things, just like measuring in graphing. We have to be super precise with telling and writing time. All right, Smarties, that is it. I will see you soon with a new lesson. Happy learning.